The next news story here comes from VGC, written by Andy Robinson. They write, Ubisoft is no longer attending E3 2023 and will host its own event in June. Last month, the Assassin's Creed publisher became the first major company to publicly commit to attending the revamped E3. We talked about it here on the show. You can even go watch it. It was one of our very first SGB clips that we started releasing, which is due to take place in June at its traditional venue of the Los Angeles Convention Center. However, in a statement issued to VGC, the company said it has now decided to move in a different direction and will instead be holding its own Ubisoft Forward live event on June 12th in Los Angeles. E3 has fostered unforgettable moments across the industry throughout the years, a spokesperson told VGC. While we initially intended to have an official E3 presence, we've made the subsequent decision to move in a different direction. We'll be holding a Ubisoft Forward live event on 12th of June in Los Angeles. We look forward to sharing more details with our players very soon. E3 organizer ReedPop did not immediately respond to a request for comment. E3 2023, the flagship industry event, first physical show in years, is due to run from Tuesday, June 13th, and has been taken over from the Entertainment Software Association by ReedPop, the media and events company behind PAX, EGX, and Star Wars Celebration. Under the revamped format, the first 2 days of E3 will be reserved exclusively for businesses, while the remaining days will include consumer visitors. However, Ubisoft's decision to step away from E3 2023 means that, with 3 months to go, no major company has been announced as officially attending. The fact that the company had previously committed to attending also raises serious questions about the lineup for the revamped show. Yada yada, it goes on and on, but we kind of called it, right? Like we were like, okay, they're saying they're going, but they kind of seem on the fence a little bit. We're not surprised by this, right?
No, remember they were like, yeah, we'll be there if it's happening, and
right.
we'll keep an eye out and see. And
yeah,
lo and behold, they never intended to come.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't think E3 was actually going to happen. Oh,
right.
fancy. All right. Okay. Well, sorry, we're not coming. We're not coming. It's one of those things where they got invited to the party and we're hoping to get that call 30 minutes before they were meeting up with their friends to just find out, oh, hey, so-and-so's sick. We're not meeting tonight. Oh, cool. But really, they didn't want to go the whole time, but they were just like, taking their sweet old time, like hoping like, oh, okay, am I going to get that text? Am I going to get that text? They didn't get the text, so they had to be the guy and cancel on them. JJ, what were you about to say? What are your thoughts on E3 just completely backing out of E3, or Ubisoft backing out of E3 here?
We kind of saw this coming. They're not the only ones. I mean, everybody has kind of like been bailing on E3, and originally we were kind of excited about E3 happening again in a non-COVID era when, hey, it's going to be opened up, we're going to be able to have crowds there again, and it was kind of like a go-to thing. For a couple of years, E3 was so big, and originally when PlayStation pulled out of it, and then all of a sudden Nintendo and Xbox were able to take bigger portions of the show, and then eventually they decided, hey, we're all going to do our own thing, because why not? The focus is on us, and we're not having to share the spotlight with anybody else. I, for one, am not shocked at all. I wouldn't be surprised if E3 got canceled again, guys, because it seems like Ubisoft was one of the last big ones that was going to be there. Who else is there left?
Have we heard from Square Enix? Because they sometimes do a show, not a good one. Like if you look back at our YouTube archives at last year's E3, or not E3, last year's Summer Game Fest. The Square Enix one was horrendous, to say the least. But we haven't heard from them officially, correct? Or have we?
I mean, the only thing they would have to show would be Final Fantasy 16.
Right, which will probably be just at the PlayStation State of Play.
Right,
probably.
Right. That wouldn't be worth an entire setup for. So I'm going to most likely rule them out.
Yeah.
The only positive I can think about this is that this is going to put a lot more spotlight on AA and independent games, because there won't be all the big companies there to kind of soak up that limelight. So
yeah, but at that point, it's just another PAX.
Fair.
And
That's
we already
true.
have PAX East, PAX West, PAX, whatever the other one is that takes place in Texas. Like there's already like 3 or 4 PAXs that happen each year. Do we need a 5th one? Right?
And
like,
do you see people like using it as a destination spot without a Square Enix and a Ubisoft there, or PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo? Do you see people that are going to put their money together to get tickets to fly out, or any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, industry people will be there, which is what it originally was designed for anyways. As far as like consumers, I could see consumers still going just to see what is this about, but I definitely don't think it's going to be as big as it would have been because so many people are backing out. Like, I'm sure if there's people there, oh man, people would be just breaking down the gates to get in to E3. But yeah, now that everyone's backing out, I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be a really rough, small PAX essentially is what it's going to turn into. Because yeah, it's just it's sad. It's really sad because E3, yeah, was this giant it was the conference each year, and now it's like, oh, it's dead in the water, not even gonna make it hardly to June, and it's already like gone. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it just, to me, it just seems like, okay, at this point, if it's just AA and indie games, it's just another PAX. And at that point, okay, we already have PAX. I went to their site now. PAX East, PAX West, PAX Australia, and then PAX Unplugged. So they already have like 4. Do we need?
Is PAX West happening this year?
I assume so. It happened last year. So
I haven't heard anything. So
they tend to announce it late for whatever reason. Like they wait until like closer to some like late spring, early summer before they start releasing dates. Because last year they did the same thing. Like I kept waiting because I was like, oh man, I'd be sick to go. And then by the time I checked for dates, it was like late, like maybe like July, and I was like, oh, they've already announced dates and like tickets were like gone. I'm like, okay, well, so they take their sweet old time. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it other than, I don't know. It's what, okay. One last question here before we move on. Do you think this is indicative of what Ubisoft showcase is going to be like? Like, do you think it could be something where they just don't have enough to show, so they feel weird about going to E3 when they don't have a lot to show off? Or do you think that's not it at all? They just simply don't want to go there? Like, because that's my concern as well. Is like, okay, maybe they're backing out E3 because they're like, oh shoot, like we could do a showcase, but we don't really have enough to be on like the main stage at E3. So maybe we should back out, and it's just going to be a small little Ubisoft, thing or whatever, something like that. Like, I don't know. Like, do you think there's any possibility of that where they just got nothing?
Ubisoft did an entire press conference or an event with Starlink and Just Dance. Okay? Yeah. They don't need anything to want to do an event. They'll do an event with next to nothing.
Remember Starlink? That was a thing.
Yes, I do.
That was a thing that
it was the best Star Fox game we've had in years.
Did not last long. That was a thing that had like the little toys too, right? You connect the toy to your controller. And
the only way to get an R-Wing.
Yeah, that's how you got the ship in the game. So yeah, they had like an attachment on your controller, and you attach the toy to the controller, and then it put it in the game or something. Wild. I never played it, but it just looked extremely interesting. That's for sure.
I can tell you that overall, it was okay. The Star Fox stuff was really the standout. It was really good, actually. Really well thought out.
That's so interesting that it was only on the Switch though, right?
That part, yeah. It was multi-plat, but the Star Fox stuff, of course, was only
you
Nintendo.
Couldn't get it on like PlayStation or something like that. But
right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Like in the past, they've showed like they don't care. Like if they only have a couple things to show, they're only going to show a couple things. But with all the news we've had the last few months, like almost every month, them delaying or canceling games, like, yeah, I guess
maybe they're going to come out. This will be their new slate. They're going to show their new slate for everything.
Yeah, like I think we definitely see Assassin's Creed because supposedly Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out this year. So we see at least one, like a trailer or talk about that. But like what's the Pirate Skull and Bones got delayed again for like the 10th
That
time
needs
or
to
whatever.
get canceled, bro. It's been delayed like what, 6 times?
A lot, yeah, at least 6, I think, if not more. Like it's
when
a
it
lot.
finally comes out, it's going to be it's going to be the version of Days Gone that we should have got. It's going to be like Days Gone. It's going to be incomplete,
buggy, janky at launch. Yeah, probably. I mean, the fact that they just keep restarting the game, like, oh, it's not good, so we're just going to start from the ground up. It's like, eventually you just got to put out a game, right?
You have to, right?
You can't just keep starting over, can you? I guess you can. That's a lot of money they're just throwing in a garbage disposal, though. Yeah. I don't know what Ubisoft has in store, and I don't think they do either. But we'll just have to stay tuned and find out what happens here on June 12th at their Ubisoft Forward Live event. All right, that's it for the Nerdy Nudes this week. We had 4 stories this week. That's right. For you, JJ, I know it's hard for you to count past 1.
Nerdy Nudes XL.
We had 4. But
is
now
that what we do here now, Garrett? On this show, we bash our co-host. We just like beat up and make fun of. I mean, dude, I'm blown away. We're supposed to be friends, man. You're being all negative. Wow.
I'm just tired. I was blaming it on my tiredness. I've been up since
okay, then that works. No, because I do the same
2.
thing all the time when I'm bashing you for all the stuff I bash you about.
Right. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.